everybody, welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, Ann, Disembodied Hands, Quindy, Disembodied Beard, John, and sometimes an earful Coronico. Sometimes an earful one. I have to look. I think there's earful Coronicos today. Yes, earfuls. Oh, and a cold. Oh. I blame your job. Obviously, it's your stressful job, stressing you out, making your immune system sad, Kuro. Hey everybody. Turgeon, thank you for the resub 57 months. Sorry, I had to scroll back up. Sorry, I've been late. This has been just a week where I'm just like discombobulated in the morning. Have you guys had those? Oh, let's see here. Yes, that cold should go away quickly as possible. Exactly. All right. Alrighty, alright, and we're good. Yes, you should blame your coworkers, 100%. If not for your stressful job, your immune system would not have been sad enough to get that cold. That's the state of affairs, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, man. I worked down north of the wind yesterday. I'm slowly getting back into it. Slowly. It's been a bit of a battle. Because I've been just kind of like, I don't know, this whole rebrand thing and everything is like, it's just frustrating, like, to have 4 books out and still feel like I'm struggling a little bit to get visibility. But I guess that's always going to be the case. Like, it's always going to be a little bit of a battle. And I just have to keep going, because the more books you have, the more visible you are. So, but it's been kind of, it's just, every once in a while, I'm like everybody else. I get down, I get kind of like, is this even worth it? I get all that. So, you're not the only ones, guys. I totally get that way. What do I want to work on today? I think I want to highlight... I think I'm going to make the shoulder pads black. I'm going to highlight the hat and the shoulder pads, and maybe I'll make the bottle black so we can have that bright green. Yeah, let's do that. I feel more painty today. I don't feel like very sculpty. More months than dragons. Just barely. 75 months. Thank you so much, Kuro. Awesome. You don't know how else you would wake up but discombobulated? Yeah. Anne has normal feelings, I know, right? Even with all the crap I accomplish and all the crap I've done in my life so far, guys, I still have normal feelings. It's true. Alright, so yeah, let's get black out. All the emojis. Good. You at least need to keep pace. You need to keep pace. It's the Dragon a Month Club. Except you have to keep pace with your subs, with your amount of dragons. Although that could get expensive, so maybe not. Hey, seriously? Alright, 13 months. Lucky 13. Alrighty, I'm going to get some black. I think I'm going to highlight this with actually using Black Knight liner and white. There, and we'll just... get some more black on this baby. I think I'm going to do the scabbard black too because it goes over this white, splotchy white apron. But I'll do some detailing. I'll definitely make the gem green, and I might do a green detail on it, a moth green detail, because I need to make sure that I'm repeating some moth green around the model. So we'll grab our Black Knight liner. 1 second. And I'll show you the palette. So what we're going to do is, I like to mix my highlights for black always. I tend to like using liners plus a little bit of white. Cloth I would usually go brown with, but I've already got brown over here, and I think I want to go kind of cool but different. Cool meaning, more blue toned. And so I'm going to add some white, pure white, to the Black Knight liner and see what I can get. If it's a little bit too purple, then we'll go to... Hey, and Cody, God, it's sub day. Kodiak with the Prime sub, 45 months is a long time, Kodiak. You're almost to your quadruple sub-anniversary. Awesome, and thank you. Ah. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, you can run around giving other people your Prime sub. We won't judge you for it. I mean, Quindy might judge you, but then she silently judges everyone in the chat, so really it's just par for the course. Lurkin. Hope you're having a good day, green users. Hope you bought up a lot of green stuff. I bought 2 tubes, 2 extra tubes. David's like, well, I expect we'll be able to, tariffs won't be forever, and I expect we'll be able to get it from somewhere outside of the U.S. And I'm like, I don't want to order it from outside of the U.S. I would much rather just have the green stuff here, thank you. And I bet it's going to be super fresh for, like, now that they've announced their closing, I bet it's going to be super fresh because everybody's going to be buying up. So we can get our super fresh, awesome green stuff and store it in the freezer. Sadly, I don't think I can fit that many syllables into the song, Turgeon. I would say 13 years would be the Triskaidekaversary. Because that's going to be a long time coming, and if somebody is still here after 13 years, you deserve me trying to fit Triskaidekaversary into the song. No, I mean, I assume they just don't do enough business, right? Maybe they just, I don't know, no idea. Maybe they've got, like, maybe their company head has, like, political, like, feelings. I have no idea. No idea. Sales. Yeah, I mean, sales is usually the answer. Aliens. Aliens or sales. One or the other. I mean, but sales, honestly, sales is usually the answer. All right, so that makes a very pleasing kind of bluish, cold, like purpley bluish gray. I like this color. I'm going to go with it. So I'm going to make one more highlight. With cloth, we don't want to highlight up too high unless it's a shiny kind of cloth, like a silk or satin. Because cloth will have more dull highlights. I mean, you can even see it on my shirt. Like, black has very, very low highlights on a dull shirt. So, with the hat, I don't want to go probably above this. And this will be thinned down so it won't even look as light as this. All right, that's good. I'm gonna make it a little bit darker, just a little bit. Oh, maybe a little bit too much. Oh, nose. Well, that's actually enough. So actually, that was a good call. My instinct was better than my conscious mind. This is usual. Their raw materials coming from abroad, and the prices can have gone way too high for them to continue. Oh, that makes sense. Interesting. Or aliens. Ah, still a small company. That's interesting. I wonder how much of their sales volume is sculptors. Although now that 3D sculpting is out, probably not as much as it used to be. Right? So maybe that's part of the problem. Interesting. Interesting. All right, so let's take this dark blue. It kind of reminds me, this color actually reminds me of Midnight Blue from MSP, 0.1. Midnight Blue didn't make the cut. Oh yeah, that's a good black highlight. All right, let's get this closer so you guys can see. And then let's get in focus. So you can see that highlight that I just put along this rim. That's actually a great soft highlight for black. The aliens abducted all their raw materials. I did not paint the upper edge of this hat. And there is a hat band. I might have to make the hat band the moth green. This is going to be a very ridiculous color scheme thanks to Quindy's influence, but it'll be okay. It's a blue-gray. I mean, but now the thing is, Kodiak, makes you a little sad, but you shouldn't because all you need to do is add white to Black Knight liner. Like, I honestly, I like to have sympathy, but I don't have sympathy because when it's that simple of a mix, I'm like, that's so easy. It's so easy. Like, that's so much easier to almost a dead match for the color. That's so much easier of a mix than some of the other mixes for some of the other colors who are being canceled. Like, when it's that easy of a mix, you could even make it in batches and store it in a bottle if you really wanted to. Just buy a bottle of actually, you wouldn't even need to buy a bottle of pure white because not a lot. That was maybe a 5 to 1. So like you could buy a bottle of Black Knight liner, split it in two, empty them into 2 separate bottles, add a little bit of white and tune it, and there you go. Yeah, so we're going to just get that lower rim because there's a little bit of a depression here. Yeah, Zero Sympathy. I don't know if I had Zero Sympathy on Deep Red because Deep Red is a little bit more difficult to match perfectly. And the reason for that is that red brick is going away. Although you could get close with Burgundy wine plus clear red, I bet, plus elemental red. But I'd have to test it. Some of these I have to test and just see. Alrighty, so we want to get that highlight on. But like, some colors I will feel bad about because they're hard to mix. Like, then those are absolutely valid to, like, you know, say why, and the answer is always sales. But stuff that's so easy to mix, like, this is ridiculous how easy this was to mix. And I recognized it right away. Like, I'm like, oh, this is that color. So, like, I definitely understand when you're not comfortable with mixing. If I'm like, well, you have to mix these 2 colors and add a little bit of this color and a little bit of white. And, you know, if I'm going there, then for sure I have all the sympathy for people who really aren't comfortable with mixing because they hear that and their brains just shut off. And that's fair. But when it's as easy as take this color and just add a little white, yeah, no sympathy. Sorry, zero sympathy. I'm with Quindy on this one. I'm in the merciless Quindy realm. You can whine to me about colors going away, but don't whine to me about colors going away that are so easy to make. I don't remember. I think I did, like, I don't know if I nixed Peacock. I think I did. Because the only reason other than sales that colors got nixed was if they were really close to another color that had slightly better sales. And in this case, Forest Green, 9013, is super close to Peacock. It's a little bit bluer. But all you need to do is add a little bit of elemental yellow and you'll get it. So again, if it's like take this color and add a little bit of this other color. Like, that's easy mixing. That's the kind of thing that, like, I'm not gonna, you know, that's not gonna get me to, like, totally boohoo with you about a color going away. I'm gonna be like, but it's so easy to match. So I'm just keeping the side that's kind of, since he's got kind of a drunk hat, we're gonna just keep the upper side more light. So you can see that. Wheel siphon, any sympathy you even think about. Oh, okay. Yeah. I just have to, like, you know, I've slept since then, so I don't remember the mix that I mentioned for Deep Red. I'll have to look at the other available colors and go, oh yeah, I remember now. But my brain is not, like, totally on today. Although, hopefully I have enough brain power to finish my PDF for a $5 tier, because it has to be out before Valentine's Day. Because we're doing, for my color workshop for my $5 Patreon tier this month, we're doing the pinks. I decided, I'm going to do pinks. I was going to do yellows, then I realized Valentine's Day, and I was like, pinks! Opportunity for pink. So, yeah, so we're totally going to show you the new pinks from 2.0. I'm excited. So many colors for angels and clouds and Chiron and unicorns and cloud dragons. I don't think anybody makes a Cloud Dragon. I mean, it was in second edition, right? But I don't know that they ever I don't think they ever brought it back, right? Am I thinking correctly? So I'm just taking, the hat kind of undulates, guys, so it kind of dips here and then it kind of wobbles up on this little edge. And then it dips down a little bit more and then it comes up again. So I'm essentially bringing in a little bit of highlight all the places it's dipping up. And then I'm going to put in, make sure the shadows are good. Cloud dragons were cool because they they looked like gold dragons kind of, but they were like white and their shadows were like all the colors of like sunrise and sunset, if I recall correctly. I really liked them. I thought they were cool. They were another good aligned dragon. I just loved the idea of that color scheme. Maybe I should just paint a cloud dragon. I should take a gold dragon model and paint it as a cloud dragon from second edition. So I'm just trying to get a little bit of blending. We got a little bit sharp there. We can see our transition. So yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That would be cloud dragons. Cloud dragons would have members that were kind of sunset colored, sunrise and sunset. There we go. So blended that in a little bit, so you can see kind of the bands. Doing it like when a hat undulates like that, it's a good opportunity to throw some highlights in. We don't want to throw too much in because otherwise everything will be that color. We need to keep enough black for it to look black. So I have to be a little cautious. I'm just looking at this, seeing my where I've got like a little bit too much transition. My paint's a little thick and that's why I'm getting such strong transition barriers, so I need to thin it. I also can glaze, so actually I'm going to glaze this with black. So let's get that going on. Just going to grab a little bit. It's really high coverage, so you don't need a lot of black. See, even when I thin it, it's really strong. Like that, I popped a whole drop of water in there and it's still really strong. So there we go. It's a little better. And that'll help. Can paint that over the whole surface. Oh, sorry. And I'm just painting it in a real thin coat. I'm not letting it pool at all because this is such a smooth surface. It's so easy. And I actually blended the other parts in pretty well, so I'll just do a little bit. You can layer with glazes if you like. You don't want to put it over the whole thing, but you can always paint it a little bit over the transition area to smooth it out. Pathfinder has a cloud dragon and bestiary too. Nice. Yeah, I remember cloud dragons and mist dragons. I don't remember the other dragons that were in that particular monster manual. Cloud dragons were the ones I liked the most. I'm gonna get these painted in black. Since he's Darkmantle, it makes sense that his shoulder pads are black. And I didn't really want to make them metallic. I was just like, no, they're just gonna be like black shaped leather. A scuttle of mimics. Yay! I like that. those in there. Now it does come right up against the black in the cape here, so I will have to put a highlight, probably a hard highlight on the outside of these to differentiate them. It isn't like totally, like, it's okay to put the same color overlapping, but then you've got to put like a hard highlight or some other really dark shadow to show where those two areas differ. And it's not recommended to do it like with a big important place, but like here, it's just like I can put a highlight right along, a high highlight right along the edge of this, because it's leather, so it can be shinier, and that will be enough. And because it's not like black against a lot of black, like I'm planning to make the center part with the mimic actually purple, so there will be enough of a difference for me. So yeah, even though I try to alternate colors, some models you're just not going to be able to if you're trying to do a particular feel or ambient or like style or, you know, color scheme. It's just going to fight you. And in that case, by all means, overlap colors if you have to, but make sure that you either have like a dark shadow to separate the two areas or a high highlight, depending on how dark or light the color itself is. With black, of course, it's got to be a highlight because you can't go any darker. Alrighty. And our little shaker bottle for our potion. Oh, I can see a little tiny bit. I'm getting to the point where I only ever want to work on 3D prints so I don't ever have to like deal with a mold line ever again. Have you felt that way recently? I've gotten so used to not having mold lines. It's just so nice. I would 50 times over rather deal with a you know 3D print nubbins than to have to deal with mold lines. Good to know somebody else is there with me, Kodiak. It's getting to the point where I get very impatient with mold lines now. But we also need to highlight his skin. So we might get to that today as well, depending on how much progress I make on this. Yeah, well, you guys have seen, I mean, the Ogre Mage had immense amounts of cleanup I had to do. Like, I had to actually, like, make time in the evening and use extra, like, my free time to, like, clean up that model, because there's no way that I would have been able to sit there and do it on stream. It would have taken too dang long. A little rough here, so I'm just taking my knife and kind of polishing it up a little bit, taking the rough spots out. Yep, prep. Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, there's definitely a zone for prep work. Like, I get into it with the GW models because I'm, like, working on Golden Demon stuff, and you have to have, like, flawless prep. Like, there's a point where I can enjoy it. Although styrene, it's so much easier to take the mold lines off of styrene. You're just scraping. It's so much more enjoyable than having to deal with this plasticky stuff, which never gets pristine. It always gets like little nubbins. Yeah. I find sanding this can be fraught personally because the material is soft, but maybe. But yeah, whatever tools you can use that make your brain not hurt, use those. For me, that's usually just dealing with knives. Maybe not the best way to do it, but it gets the job done. Yeah, I still have a little bit of mold line here. Boom. Almost. This is the Black Bottle of Doom. Indeed. Black Bottle of Doom. Yeah. Oh, I use, yeah, I have a GW scraper, but I usually use just the back of my X-Acto because I've just got it. That and the fact that I tend to use duller X-Acto blades anyway. Alright, now we need to make this scabbard black. And then I think we'll continue our highlighting. Got a little distracted there from my highlighting. There was a little nubbin on the middle of that. Oh. We'll slowly get this guy figured out. He's definitely a bit of an odd duck. Using a small brush here so that I have a nice fine tip so that I can get into all these little nooks and crannies around the stuff that I've already painted. Alright, let's get back to highlighting. How did my glaze turn out? That smoothed it a bit. Yeah, that smoothed it a bit. It doesn't have to be perfect. So let's take our highlight then, our really higher highlight, the one that I thought was darker than I wanted until I really looked at it. And now this is a case where you could spend forever. If I keep with this, stay with this size 1 brush, I'm going to have to unload it forever. So I'm going to switch to it down to a smaller brush. When you are working with really thin paint, just switch to a small brush. Not a teensy brush, but one that's smaller than you'd usually use. It essentially means that with these super watery paints, you won't have to unload it forever. Like right away I'm getting like much there, it gets there. Whereas when I was with that size 1, I made all those dabs and I was still having too much paint on my brush. So I want to hit the upper edge here. If I want to imply that it's kind of chewed up, then I'm going to use a stippling motion with it. And it is kind of chewed up as far as I can tell with the sculpt. So and then the very bottom edge. Hey there, Laura. I ran yesterday and it was bad because my knees were still unhappy from me falling on them in CrossFit. I'm also thinking about taking the little skull and putting it on the bottle. It's a very, very stylized little skull. And I think that I am capable of painting it onto the bottle as well. I think that that almost needs to happen. I'm not sure why they gave him like a bird instead of a skull on his staff. But we've got a turkey buzzard or something up here. Gonna grab my darker blue, my midnight blue, and hit the edges of the shoulder here. And there is kind of a cutout, so I'm going to hit the outside of that. Let's see that. It's a bird that spits acid. Then we'll just hit the highlight here. So I'm taking up these shoulder pads a bit, so they may end up looking a bit more like a blue-gray than a black, but I'm okay with that. Although I don't know, I think he'll be okay. Have you ever gotten to a part in the book you're reading where it's just like you've been waiting for forever for the character to find out about something, and they're finally starting to find out about something, and you're like, and you can't wait to read more? Yeah, sure. I look ridiculous, but the stats on this gear is great. Yes, exactly. Yes, yeah. He's level 16 in World of Warcraft. That was always the worst. Like the teens to the 20s, the worst costume malfunctions. Like WoW should have gotten an award for that, really. Like before the transmog days, it was terrible. Now, of course, you've got transmog, so you can make your character very pretty from level 1. Yeah, yeah. I read Super Supportive, which is a web novel, so it's like an ongoing kind of thing. And it's about Alden, who's from Chicago and gets tangled up. It's a superhero kind of genre. And it technically is a little lit RPG, but those elements quickly get really minimized. So I would consider it more of a superhero story, kind of like Brandon Sanderson's Steelheart, but except not an apocalyptic world. Essentially, an alien race has discovered the Earth, decades ago, and created a contract with the humans, where they can get all these, all the support and advantages if they allow a certain number of teenagers each year to become avowed, essentially, to become servants slash soldiers slash for the alien race, essentially. And the alien race is fighting against the chaos out in the greater galaxy, but we don't really know much about that in the beginning of the story. All we know is we get to know Alden. It's a very, very long story. It's going to take forever. And it's one of the top stories on Royal Road. It is amazingly well written. Like anybody who likes a really great characters, well written, like alien superheroes type story with fantastic alien races and like just a great power system too, honestly. If you like that, give it a try. She doesn't have it on Amazon, so you have to read it. I read it on her Patreon because I think it's a she. I think the author's a she. But I read it on their Patreon because I decided to support them way early in because I'm like, this is the best written thing I've ever seen in a web novel. It really should be on Amazon, except that I don't know where she'd separate the books because it really is written like one ongoing story. Buttless trousers at some point. You want poison resistance? Yes, buttless trousers for you. That was like Final Fantasy, the Mithra never got pants. The cat people. The cat girls. There was specifically cat girls. They never got pants. Ever. Final Fantasy 11. It was like totally not. It's like totally a costume decision on the part of the game creators. Oh, that's too sad, Kodiak. I hate that. I hate that when they totally muff the ending. there's too many like progression fantasy and lit RPGs that are like all about the numbers go up burr and not enough about like good characterization and satisfying storytelling. And that's just the fact, like the genre is written by a lot of fans at this point, and there are a few that like really stand out that are really amazing, but relatively few. Like there's one that is almost exactly what I would want to write in the space, like, but it's just not written as well. And I read it anyway because I love it's got like town building like stuff, and I read it anyway because it satisfies that for me. But man, it's some of the writing not so good, but super supportive, seriously good. If you go to Royal Road and look it up, read the first few chapters and see what you think. And it's got like she's at 270 chapter 272, and they are not short chapters. I was just reading it. 281 is the latest chapter on her Patreon, so it's probably 261 on Royal Road. And these are like 3,000 to 6,000 word chapters. Oh yeah, yeah. Check out Super Supportive, Soup as we call it, Soup Sop. He wants to be a support hero. Thus the name. But things get complicated. Don't they always? So it's a web novel, Polly, and it's on Royal Road, which is a web novel reading site for mostly progression fantasy and lit RPG. But this one is a superhero with very, very loose lit RPG system. So yeah, Super Supportive is the name of it. If you go to Royal Road and you look for Super Supportive, you will find it. It is one of the most popular books on the site. Her Patreon is huge. It is just a fantastic story. Like I'm just gonna keep reading it as long as they keep writing it. I think it's super well done. And I like a good superhero story. But yeah, be warned, you're just going to start reading, and be warned that you have 260 chapters. So if you get really into it and you just keep reading, you're just going to like stay up all night. Try desperately to find a good stopping point each day so it doesn't eat your life. But yeah, it's nice. The serial novels are kind of nice because then you can just read a few chapters and put it down for a while and read a few chapters and etc. The other one that I really like is Reborn as a Max Level Archmage, which is a really good. It doesn't sound like a good one, but again, the title is completely like the title is complete clickbait, but the writing is really good. Sounds like a challenge. Okay, well, yeah, give it a try. Like I said, it's ongoing though, so you. But the current arc is like it took the writer 281 chapters or 270 something chapters to finally get to a big reveal that honestly everybody's been waiting for like 100 chapters. It's so satisfying. So now we're into it. It's going to be I don't know. I read every chapter as it comes out. I should just store them up so I can binge, but I just don't. Because it's my favorite thing. It's my favorite thing to read. She only releases like 2 chapters a week at this point because the author is a really wants like high quality, essentially. Like she won't put the chapter out if it's not ready. They spend a lot of time like perfecting the chapters, so it reads very professionally. God, I love it so much. It's a great story. Okay, so just putting a little bit of higher, you can see that higher highlight right on the edge. I want to bring it up a little bit. And the Royal Road app isn't bad to read on either, except for the, well, there's ads, but you just get to the point where you auto scroll past them. Just really edging with this really light color, you can see it. I just want to bring out, the more contrast I can get there, the more detail I'll bring out, so. But I don't want it to be a very large highlight because I want the shoulder pads to still read as really dark or black, so. So I'm using my small brush and I'm very gently doing the edge. You could use the, if edge highlighting is easier for you, you could totally just use the edge of the brush as well to get the color down. Do the classic edge highlight. A little bit less, like you've got a little less control there. You can see how that just made kind of like a straight bar of color. And I often like to accentuate like the points and go a little bit lighter in the middles. So for me, I'd rather paint the edge on so that I can control that, but I can always take a little bit of my previous highlight and just kind of paint it over the center section a little to dull it down if I want that. Because I like a little bit, I don't like a straight edge highlight, I like to actually vary it a little bit. And then I can accentuate the points here. And when we've got very little room to bring out that second layer underneath here, having that lighter and darker, having that contrast is necessary to bring out those details. I'm going to just put my lining in there to clean that up. I might need to put just a little bit more touch under there. I don't have a, I've been trying to make less time to read lately and more time to write. When I'm working on kind of rewriting, because you guys know I started writing North of the Wind a long time ago, 2 years or more. So I'm going back over the early chapters I wrote, and I was just thinking, like last night I took a walk and just like kind of rolled over what I want to change. Like there's definitely adjustments I want to make. So now you can see how I'm bringing it up more around the points here to bring those details out. And then I can blend in that a little bit nicer. I can also glaze this whole thing with my black glaze, which I still have back here, which is really lightweight. But I can, and because it's really lightweight, I can apply it without worrying about bringing those highlights down too much. But still hopefully blend in a little bit of those. I'm going to take off any excess. I tried not to leave any excess, but I like to double check that. But yeah, with the leather, I don't mind. I can bring it up a little sharper. So you see I'm keeping it more dull up here, but you see how much sharper I'm bringing up the highlight here. Because that's just going to give you more of a shiny surface effect. Like you're going to feel like it's definitely a different surface than this. I do want to take my white and get that hat band painted in. I don't know that Ron is going to approve of the purple, black, and moth green color scheme that I'm going to put on this, but he can just suck it up. It's a weird one even for me. But it just seemed very Quindy. It seemed like a Quindy moment, so. Yeah, today I have to do a lot of pink swatches for the PDF, the Patreon PDF. There's some beautiful pinks in 2.0, guys. You know, people over the years have complained that we don't have enough pinks, and like the answer was always, well, they don't sell. But we're taking a chance on a few new pinks for this. There's mostly 2 bright ones, and then there's 1 or 2 that are mixed in with the skin tones for blush colors. All moments are Quindy moments. Yeah, I like purple and green together too. I just usually don't punch it up as much as moth green, but there's a time and a place for everything, and apparently Quindy would say that there is always a time and a place for moth green. The headband kind of disappears behind the brim of the hat there, so I'm going to make that happen. Well, and I mean, there's always uses for pink with fleshy monsters and tentacle monsters, and highlighting purples they do really well with. So, okay, got that hat band on. I think I want to continue highlighting these shoulder pads. Got that down. Then maybe we'll go over and paint a quick highlight. Well, maybe we'll just do a quick highlight on the bottle. Just straight down the front with a cylinder. And I'm going to paint over most of this with a skull and crossbones ideally, but oh, I hear a Kiki shaking herself. A silly Keekster. And again, if I want this to be kind of a leather wrap on this bottle, then I want to get a little bit of shininess on it with the white or a near white. But you can see then, hopefully, how texture changes depending on the highness of the highlight and how diffused or how sharp the highlights are. I think I need to scoot this over a little bit actually. It's because it's a little, yeah, that's better. A little bit off center. I haven't looked at the CrossFit workout tonight to see if I'm doomed or not. It was pretty obnoxious on Tuesday. Oh, we're on snatches. Well, meh workout. Meh workout. Snatches are squats where you catch the barbell above your head. That's what we're doing. I always go pretty light with them, because nobody wants to put a heavy barbell on their head. It's like a high skill movement. I feel like it's less useful for somebody like me who just wants to be in shape. but I'll do it anyway. Dahlia and the Red Book. Stop motion about writer's block. Aww! I'll make a note of it. Let me make a note. Thanks for the recommend, Polly. Hold on. Dahlia and the Red Book. Good. Thanks. I like super cute. Also, I'm a writer. In case y'all hadn't noticed. Look, I totally did not paint the bottom part black, guys, okay? This is totally something you paint black. This big blank area on the underside of the model. Absolutely paint it black. And then we have running and pull-ups, and pull-ups are just kind of a meh for me right now because I've stopped working on them because I want to work on my running. It's like I can only focus on working on one aspect of my fitness at a time. I was working on trying to get to pull-ups, but now I'm just like, nope, I want to lose 40 pounds, and then it'll be easier to do a pull-up. That's kind of what I came to. I was like, yeah. Because right now pull-ups are a super nope. I need to use bands, resistant bands to help me. Although I think I'm going to use the box pull-up. I bet they'll let me do that. There's a couple different ways you can kind of practice pull-ups. All right, there we go. So keeping those rents, those holes in the cloak there to make him, and I'll probably add some splotches and stuff just because this is all splotched up. I'll probably add some splotches on this cloth as well, but I want to do that more toward the end, I think. All right, let's back out. The shoulder pads look pretty good. The hat at least has some highlights on it. I'm going to put, let's just block in the bone color on the hat bit. I'm going to use my sample paint. Yeah, sorry Keeks, we got at least a half an hour. Mama was late today. I got a sample paint that's very, very like driftwood / nod bone. I think I'm going to do the hat, the base of the hat design in that. This is not a very elaborate skull and crossbones. It is very kind of smooshy. And I have to figure out, I think silver? I think we might do silver on this instead of gold. And I think I probably should make these little braided things brown like I did this. I'm debating what I want to do next. I'm kind of tempted to block everything in at this point. So let's do that. I actually have all the ingredients for making silver NMM right now, so once I put down my cloudy gray. Ah, Kiki left me fur. How did you manage to leave me fur, Kiki? She's like, I'm just talented. Oh, I forgot the handle. Yeah. Alright, just getting that kind of lined around these areas, and then I'm blocking them in. So I watched like the Overwatch video where they're talking, they actually released 5 new heroes all together, which is going to be crazy on the competitive mode. I don't know what the meta is going to even look like, but the last hero they talked about was the jetpack cat I talked about with you guys. And the female like dev doing the interview is like, and then there's the cat. And she's just like, oh, I can't believe we're putting out a jetpack cat hero. It's funny. I really was tempted. I didn't have any time last night, but I really wanted to log on to Overwatch to take a look because I think everything's out as of right now. It all came out on the 10th. I want to play Jetpack Cat. Can you imagine how cute the skins are going to be? Like, David was like, why would you even? And I'm like, support hero. And can you imagine how cute the skins for that thing are going to be? Oh, yeah, because everybody's locking in the cat. Yep. Everybody locks in the cat. Because who doesn't want to play a jetpack cat? Oh, come on. Like, instant gold. And like I said, the skins are going to be amazing. Yeah, I'm sure they'll do all different color like you can do all the different fur patterns. You could do like all different colored jetpacks. I would love to see the kitty with angel wings. I would like angel wings as a jetpack, or like like an angel wing type style jetpack. You could do so many. Like, there's just so many great skins just waiting for that character. I just can't wait. I need to get back in Overwatch. I need to learn to play the newer support heroes so that I have more of a varied repertoire, because right now I'm very much like a 2 or 3 hero support. Absolutely glorious. Well, when they brought out Hammond, they took a bit of heat. Like, people were like, I can't believe, like, it was the first time they jumped the shark with that kind of thing. Where they're like, we are just going to put a cute animal in a power suit that's a giant hamster ball and it's going to roll around. And people were like, I can't believe that you're doing this. And then it turns out that hero has honestly one of the highest skill ceilings. Like, it's so hard to play it because you have to learn a whole new movement system because the ball rolls and it grapples things, and yeah. So now people have gotten used to the hamster. But doing the cat, that was a whole nother like, I had a disbelief moment. I questioned whether it was an early April Fool's when I saw it, Marach. It was that shocking. And then I was like, no, really, this is a thing? And now I love it. Now I'm in. I'm 100% in. All paws in. Paws up. 4 paws up. But there was a moment where I was like, I can't believe they're actually doing this. Because Overwatch is not like except for the hamster, usually the heroes are much more, kind of standard heroes. Meaning, human or humanoid or cyborg, right? Robots. Robots are okay. But yeah, now we're getting into the animal kingdom. And there was, for years, there's been talk of a cat hero, but it was, more of an anthropomorphic cat. And instead, and they trashed that, I think, long ago, and then somebody's like, why don't we just make it a cat? A hyper-intelligent cat. And, yeah, here we are. Yeah, different skill sets needed for sure. I'm still a Mercy player. Mercy's still my main love. I've been playing her since day one in Overwatch. But she's just she and Reinhardt, I guess Winston did get some updates, but she and Reinhardt are so, just out of meta. Although we still see her every once in a while in competitive play when they need the res. But yeah, it's just they're so, with all of the toolkits that these new heroes have, it's just, why would you play one of the old heroes? But yeah, I play Lucio and I play Mercy and I play a little bit Baptiste because I like him. And actually I like Ilari, but I'm not great at her yet. I haven't played much lately. I'm not a Moira player, but David is. David frags with Moira. Insane. Insane amounts of kills with Moira. Keeping in mind that we are very low-level players, so we are definitely at the low bronze level. So it's pretty easy if you have, a basic degree of proficiency in general video games to take advantage. Yeah, you used to play Ryan? Yeah. Ryan is just he's gotten some updates, but and he appears in competitive play every once in a while, but he's just there are some other tanks that are just bad matchups for him, and so it's easy to counter him. I feel like he just needs a complete rework to make him a little more versatile. Starter villain? No, I haven't. I am a John Scalzi fan, but I didn't. Is that a John Scalzi or is that different? Yeah. Yeah, I'm a Scalzi fan, but I just never picked that one up. I was just not in the mood. But I do like John Scalzi's style. I mean, he was one of my instructors at Viable Paradise at my writing workshop I went to. He was actually the instructor that yelled at me. They gave me the best advice. Because he was not afraid to yell at me. But he was also super cool. He let me read the first chapters of his reboot of H-Beam Piper's Fuzzy series. Which is, I think his version is Fuzzy Nation. Which I loved those books as a kid. He let me read the first several chapters of it. He had it on his iPad before it was published. He yelled at me. He yelled at me for very good reason. No, otherwise, all the instructors were very nice. But Scalzi just felt so passionately about one of my bad writing habits that he actually raised his voice and said, "Never do this." You better bet I remember it. But you know what? I can take that. It's made my writing immeasurably better to have followed that advice. So, yeah, Scalzi. I think everybody in the room, because it was Stephen Gould who wrote Jumper, and also has worked with Ron Howard as screenwriting. Stephen Gould and John Scalzi were part of my critique group, were my two instructors that were in charge of our critique group. And everybody looked horrified And I was just like, all right. It didn't, like, I'd taken enough criticism, guys, at that point from miniature painting and everything else that I was just like, valid? For one thing, it was valid. It wasn't just like a criticism that was just random or like, you know, something that he disliked. It was a valid criticism, and I could see that it was. And I could even feel it in my own writing. And so it was the passive character thing. And so, like, I just took it. I'm like, all right, thank you. But I do remember the horrified or somewhat stunned looks on the faces of my fellow students and on Stephen. So it's definitely not something that's Scalzi, yeah. No, luckily I was far enough along in my journey at my creative journey at that point to not have those reactions, like to not like a younger Anne Kuro would absolutely have wanted to do that. Dolphins, cool. I like Scalzi when Scalzi writes cute. I like when he writes cute. I think his wife really likes cute, and that's part of why he does. But yeah. But yeah, no, I'm very, like, I always say he was the best instructor because he didn't tiptoe. He gave me straight up the one piece of feedback that made my writing infinitely better moving forward. I'll take yelling any day if I get that. Actually useful. Oh, that's somebody who just does not get it. That's somebody who's just trying to grief you, who doesn't like that you're happy and they want you to be unhappy. Yeah, because painting is useful. Newsflash. Newsflash, people. Painting is useful. And also, who gets to define useful? Not that person. Like, especially where you are, Kur, where you've had to go through some pretty crazy stuff over the last, 5-6 years. Oh yeah, well screw those people. They bought into like the major narrative, and I don't. Heck with y'all. Like, all those people who are making money are also not making a difference in the daily lives of other people with their making money. And painting makes a difference because it raises our quality of life. It gives us a creative outlet. It gives us a community. It helps us escape from the stuff that makes us hurt. Like, it's so, so much more than those very short-sighted people think it is. Yeah, right, Kodiak, right? Right? Okay, bye, Crowley. Thank you. Thanks for watching. But yeah, I hate that mindset. That's just like, I just scoff at it because I'm like, yeah, you're so wrong. I'm not even going to bother arguing with you because you don't understand. You're just in that weird paradigm. And some year in your future, sorry person, you will wake up and see what you have wrought, which will be nothing. Nothing real. And I hope at that point you come around to, people who are like that, often they're just disappointed that you aren't doing the thing they want you to do. Like, especially if it's a relative. Like, there's a thing in their narrative brain that they thought that you would be useful at, or that they had hoped you would do, and you are not doing it. And then they get disappointed and they take it out on you, even though it's your life and you can do whatever you like. And as was just pointed out, everybody needs self-care. I mean, but mini painting is even above self-care. Like, doing a little bit of yoga and focusing on your body can be self-care, and, taking a nice long bath can be self-care. And neither of those things feed your brain at the same time as they feed, like, your emotions and your body. Like, I feel like mini painting, because it has, like, it's like body and mind and emotions because it's art. feel like it's just so good. It's just got so many good components. Told them this is why their kids don't talk to them. Nice. Yeah, horrible people like that. Screw them. Yeah, it does. Like most arts do. Like writing is the same way because writing is also like a learning process, and you're also learning about yourself, and you're like, you're creating things to share with others. You're like using, it's not just a physical. Although writing is a little more cerebral and not as physical as mini painting. I feel like mini painting is actually, sorry, writing, but mini painting is a little bit more because it's also the physical act of painting, right? You're concerned with texture, and you're concerned with, how lightly or how heavily you touch the paint. You're working with the physical properties of the paint. Like, I feel like other art forms too are even more tactile than this, but like you're using so many aspects of like your senses and your mind and your body when you're painting miniatures. It's all sorts of things. Like we really don't get smell so much, unless of course you're using solvents, and then we hope you're not smelling your solvents that much, but we get like, touch and vision, touch and sight. But yeah, and then it helps us, it helps others, because other people enjoy looking at what we do. Even if we're not that awesome, often people will be impressed anyway because we did it. Doesn't matter how good you are. Someone will still be impressed. Especially when they see the size of what we work on, right? The little guys. They don't realize that they're this small. So I'm bringing up the highlights there and the points a little bit more. Mixing a little bit of white into my blue to get that effect. Just to bring it a little bit lighter. Just a little bit. Yeah, plus the gratification of completing something and being able to hold it in your hand. Yeah, which you also get with writing, because you can, hold your book in your hand when it's done. And some people would say that writing is tactile. Like a lot of people write still with like fountain pens or, just regular pens and paper. I, every once in a while, if I'm having trouble with the scene, I'll actually sit down and write it out in my journal. And that will help me get through it if it's difficult. So writing can still be a little bit tactile. But yeah. Just, in general, people who say that mini painting is just like a worthless hobby or imply it, like they just don't understand. They just don't get it. Like, I grew up with being surrounded by that attitude because my dad very much felt that about art and, mini painting. That was really not a real job or a real, he just kind of looked down on it. Wasn't he had that attitude. But like, and so I had grown up with that attitude and I was fighting it, but it was hard until I met my friend when I lived out in Maryland. One of the people I painted with had lupus, and she was always having a very limited amount of spoons and variable amounts of paint, and she told me this hobby is what gets me through the day sometimes. Like this hobby, being able to sit down and do this helps me take my mind off my pain and, all of the bad things about it. And that's worth anything to me, right? And that was when it really clicked for me. Like I was really young at that point, in my late 20s, I think. And that really opened up my mind to no, this actually isn't just Like, this is more than people think it is, right? This hobby is. It can mean a lot more than people think. Because there's something also to be said for a hobby that really, like, engages you to the deep work level, which this does when you get in the zone. And that's so unusual these days when we're all, like, engaged in on a very shallow level with the world. Things that get us to really sink our awareness into them are valuable. So yeah, never believe it. Never believe that narrative. Kuro moved in. They brought all their miniatures. That's awesome. But yeah, like, there are days where, like, if I'm really feeling stressed, I'll just stop working on all the other crap I have to work on, and I'll just go back into the hobby room while David's at work, and I'll just sit quietly. I'll put on music, and I'll just paint for half an hour. And it just helps. Alrighty, got those shoulder pads looking sharp. Sharp shoulder pads. Ooh, it is a big raid. Hi, Sinat. We're painting a drunken pirate wizard alchemist. I guess that's what I've decided he is. He really does. He's wearing his hat at a very tilted angle, and he's definitely wobbling. And his hat is crooked, and he's got a Molotov something or other in one hand, and yeah. So I've decided he also has a mimic as his familiar, and it's his cloak. So we've been sculpting. Previously, we have been sculpting the mimic mouth, and I just have to get to the point where I'm ready to sculpt the two little eyeballs on these folds, and then we'll paint it. But today I was more in painting mood, so we've been blocking a lot of stuff and highlighting the black on the hat and on the shoulder pads here. Welcome everybody, I'm Anne. I work for Reaper Miniatures. I worked for Reaper for a very long time as their staff painter. I also created the Master Series paint line that Reaper produces. We're about, this year, we'll be kickstarting the 2.0 version of that, which I also helped to develop, which I'm super excited about because it's very highly pigmented and definitely an improvement. But yeah, we chat about stuff. We were just chatting about how people say that art, miniature painting in particular, but art in general is kind of a waste of your time, and that you should be doing something productive, and how wrong they are. So we talk a lot of stuff. We talk about animals, talk about video games, we talk about books, we talk about painting, and I answer questions, any level of questions. There we go, getting a little bit of highlights on that bottle. And yeah, if you're interested in miniature painting, I have a YouTube series called Fundamentals of Mini Painting. Obviously free since it's YouTube. The link is in the spam that Quindy just nicely linked for us all. It's the third one down, I think, is my YouTube. But yeah, so the fundamentals are about just kind of the basic materials and techniques, and the kind of a how-to. So if you are interested in learning how to paint these things, head on over. I also have a Patreon, and I do a $2 PDF for most of the fundamental stuff. I've had a $2 PDF that's kind of a companion PDF. I can talk about it a bit more in detail often in the PDF than I can in a video that I'm trying to keep shorter. I've just been doing a metallics, how to use metallics series lately on the fundamentals. But yeah, welcome. You like to be unproductive, yes. You have a very cat attitude, Quindy. Very cat. Oh, we also talking about cooking and food a lot. We were on about cookies yesterday. Alrighty. So I wanted to put the white under that hat band so that when I do the moth green, it's going to show up really, really strongly. I also want the moth green on this little pommel gem. So I'm going to do it black first, then put a white, and then I will, and then we'll put the moth green over the top. Hissing and scratching. All right, I'm going to put, and on that note, since we're going to make this big cloud a lurid acid green, I'm going to base coat it with white so that the green will be brighter when I put it down. It's just like white paper makes colored pencils look brighter. So when you want a really bright color, undercoat with white first, and then your color will look really, really bright when you're working with acrylics. Oh, the developer actually admitted that that Jetpack Cat, Overwatch's new hero, Jetpack Cat, that the ability where they bungee an enemy and pull them like over the edge of something, that actually is absolutely based on the fact that cats love to knock stuff off shelves. So that was confirmed. Rumor confirmed. I just love it. Alrighty, we'll let that dry. We don't need a really solid coat of white on, we just need some white. Batting around a little crumpled piece of paper. Quindy is embracing her inner cat, her inner feline today. I'm going to get those, I'm trying to cover up all, at this point, we are at the point of covering up all the primer. I'm going to cover up the base plastic on that little bottle by putting the brown leather bands on it. Alrighty. Oh, we're almost done with stream. Perfect. I can base coat this, and we're set up pretty well to continue next time. I do want to highlight his skin, and then we'll start working up a lot of the stuff that we have done here. I want to do the NMM and the leather, I think. I'll darken this staff a little bit and fade it out, I think, as well. But we're getting pretty close here. I'm going to have to finish that mimic sculpting. We might have to kind of do a split stream, because like usually the problem is I have more oomph to sculpt earlier in the stream. But then I won't be able to paint really, because it's going to be really, there's a danger that I'll smush the eyeballs if I'm like, if I accidentally put my finger back here while I'm painting. So possibly we'll sculpt the eyeballs, and then we'll maybe work on a different model to finish off a stream. Maybe next time we get to basing, actually that would be good. Maybe next time we get to a basing stream, I'll actually sculpt the little mimic eyeballs. And then those will be set by the time we get back around to him. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the best way to do it. So maybe when we get to basing, I'll spend some time sculpting the eyeballs. That sounds good. That way we can just be on the painting side. I don't want to have to worry about squishing anything. And then the eyeballs will get done, and we can start, because I'm looking forward to painting the cloak. Like, I want to make the purple kind of bleeding into like skin fleshy colors around the mimic's face. So I'm really looking forward to it. I think the blending will be super fun. I might put it over by the basing models just to remind myself so I don't forget. And that way we can work with the green stuff there. And we can maybe do it when we're doing the cat space. Because now we're probably onto Catfolk Bard for basing, I think. We'll maybe work a little bit on Turtle. But Catfolk Bard is going to get a more elaborate sculpted base, so that I probably will need to do some green stuff on. Alrighty. Got that. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. Hey, we're getting there, guys. We're getting there. Yeah. Woohoo. Awesome. Yeah. I like this guy. I like him better than I thought I would. Yeah, we'll totally put some stains and stuff on his cloth. It's gonna look a little bit. It'll be a little more difficult. I might also bring up some dust and dirt along the underside of the cloth just to make it more obviously dirty. But yeah, I really like how this guy's turning out. I wasn't expecting to like him, actually. But now I'm getting to the point. Now he's getting to the point where I actually do like him, so I think he'll be fun. We'll definitely dirty up his cloth a lot toward the end. Yeah. Yay, mimic teeth. The mouth. Soon that will be painted. Yeah, this is great. And the mouth is a great surprise. Yeah. All right, cool. I'm happy. That's great. So tomorrow, for Friday, it's Oni Friday, everybody. It's Oni Friday. Or Ogre Mage Friday, however you want to say it. We just pinked out his little mouth and nose, and now he's cute. I'll probably pink out a little bit on his hands, too. Hands and feet. We haven't gotten to the feet, though. So we might have to actually paint it the blue. Yeah, I'm much happier with the face now. I think that the lighting is working, and I like it. It's good. So yeah, so probably we can get to the legs tomorrow and get those blue skin tones finished out. Thanks so much, everybody. Thanks so much for hanging out and watching. So we'll be back with that guy on the morrow. Kiki, no barkies. And I hope you all have a lovely... Oh. Kiki, enough! I'm going to have to end a little early tomorrow, Quindy. I have somebody coming over for an appointment that I have to... They're coming right at 11:30, and I have to get Kiki on her walk before they come. So just FYI, guys, a little bit shorter of a stream tomorrow. We'll make up for it Monday. All right. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll talk to you later, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.